When I woke up, I realized I had been transported into a novel, becoming the villainess in the story. According to the original plot, I would cling desperately to the male lead, who also happened to be my fiancé, and relentlessly bully the heroine. My sole purpose in the story was to stand in the way of their perfect love. In the end, once the male lead uncovered my true nature, he would destroy my entire family. I, falling into despair, would wander the streets homeless and eventually throw myself off a high-rise building. I refused to accept such a fate. So, I immediately sought out the male lead to break off our engagement. Without me standing in the way, he had no chance to play the hero saving the damsel in distress. And the heroine, stripped of her so-called special halo, couldn't even be bothered to act out the playful, bickering couple scenario with him anymore. The truth was clear: whenever I got close to a man, disaster struck. Not just on me, but dragging my entire family down with me. So why not end this ill-fated bond once and for all? The Carter family and the Thompson family had been longtime friends. My engagement with Ethan Carter only happened because of a playful joke exchanged between the two families back when we were little kids. Since both families were close, they thought it'd be nice to tie us together even further by pairing us off. Canceling the engagement, however, was simple. Both families just needed to gather over a meal, and it was done. Ethan didn't even show up until near the end of dinner, muttered a few perfunctory words, and quickly left again, apparently rushing off to go race cars with his buddies. The whole time, he acted as if today's gathering had nothing to do with him at all. I didn't mind one bit. When everything was finally settled, I went home, sprawled happily on my soft bed, and for the first time truly felt a deep sense of security. It was over. I had cut off the root of all troubles and disasters. From this moment on, I could finally enjoy my own life. After half a month of living in peace and comfort, I returned to school. That's when I remembered I was still a high school student, and the upcoming semester was my senior year. According to the original storyline, during this period I practically spent every single day chasing after Ethan. My entire senior year was wasted on him, while my studies were thrown aside. The result? A disastrous SAT score, and my high school years ended in mediocrity and regret. Luckily, it still wasn't too late. No matter what, I wanted to write a brand new answer sheet for my own life. Once I made up my mind, I officially switched into model student mode. Every day I had only two fixed destinations, school and home. During the day, I buried myself in classes, listening, taking notes, working through practice tests. At night, I had a private tutor helping me review even more. Life was both busy and fulfilling. That morning, while I was memorizing vocabulary words, I happened to look up and saw Ethan Carter and Lily Harris walking into the classroom one after the other. Ethan's uniform shirt had a large wet stain across the chest, and Lily was trailing behind him with a cup in her hand, looking pale. I blinked, and instantly remembered the scene from the novel. Lily transfers into the school, and on her very first day, she accidentally bumps into Ethan, who had stayed up all night gaming with his friends, arrived late, and ended up with a whole cup of water spilled on him. Ethan, intrigued by this pretty girl with the soft voice, forced her to wash his clothes. Meanwhile, Lily thought this spoiled rich kid was unbelievably rude. Her terrible first impression of him marked the beginning of their love-hate dynamic, which later blossomed into the central romance of the story. Having read the novel, I knew all too well how deeply their feelings would grow. And I also realized how laughable I had once been. I chuckled, lowered my head, and went back to my vocabulary list. From now on, whatever happened between them had nothing to do with me. I loved studying, and studying made me happy. Ethan only sat through 2 classes before disappearing again. Lily, being the new transfer student, spent most of the day getting her textbooks and familiarizing herself with her classmates and the new environment. She was brilliant, an academic star. On top of that, she was pretty, soft-spoken, and sweet, the kind of girl who easily won everyone's affection. By lunchtime, I saw her already walking arm in arm with new friends on the way to the cafeteria. I stretched my neck, then stood up to head there myself. Just then, my deskmate Daniel rushed back into the classroom, fumbling through his desk to find his lunch card. He looked up with a grin and greeted me. "Did you already finish the whole practice set? You're amazing. I saw you writing nonstop all morning." I nodded. "Yeah. You ready to eat?" He looked a little shy, mumbled a few more words, then darted out once he found his card. After lunch, I returned to class and finished the remaining half of the practice sheet. Just as I was about to rest my head for a nap, the student beside me suddenly got shoved hard and toppled into my space. "I told you to get me iced water. Why is this just regular? The store only had this left." Ugh, useless. I looked up and saw my deskmate from earlier being slapped across the face, his back pressed against the wall. Standing in front of him was one of Ethan Carter's lackeys. Though they were called followers, anyone qualified to hang around Ethan usually came from a family far from ordinary. It was clearly a scene of school bullying. The students nearby only glanced over before lowering their heads, pretending nothing was happening. I stood up and walked straight toward them. "He said the store didn't have any more iced water. If you want to drink it so badly, why don't you go buy it yourself instead of ordering someone else around?" I slapped away the hand smacking my deskmate's face and looked coldly at the boy. He was tall, so I had to raise my chin slightly to meet his eyes. He sneered. "Well, isn't this Miss Thompson? Weren't you the girl always trailing behind Ethan Carter every single day? What's wrong? He didn't let you tag along today?" A few muffled chuckles rippled through the crowd. My deskmate tugged lightly on my sleeve and whispered, "Forget it, don't bother." But I kept my face cold and stared straight at him. "I think you've forgotten something. The Thompson family has never been beneath the Carter family. Whatever Ethan can give you, I can too. And whatever Ethan can destroy, so can I." The boy froze on the spot. I curved my lips slightly. Looks like I've been too easygoing. Even stray dogs think they can bare their teeth in front of me now. "So, do you want to test that theory?" He immediately straightened up, panic flashing across his face, and mumbled an awkward apology. The area fell silent, though many eyes were now fixed on me. I didn't bother with them. Instead, I pointed to the desk that had been knocked out of place. "Fix the desk." He quickly bent down and adjusted the desk back. I rubbed my eyes, ready to go back to napping, when I accidentally caught a calm, clear gaze. I paused. It belonged to a boy with strikingly bright and handsome features. I remembered his name, Andrew Taylor. He was a junior, the top student of the school since freshman year, always the one delivering speeches during the Monday flag ceremonies. I recalled his voice as warm and pleasant. Right now, I naturally felt admiration for top students like him, so I gave him a small, friendly smile. But just halfway through my smile, Andrew quickly lowered his head. A bit embarrassed, I scratched the tip of my nose. "Oh well, it was nothing. I lay my head down for a nap and later got up to study again in the afternoon." It wasn't much different from the morning, except that whenever I got stuck on a problem, my deskmate would quietly slide his neat notes over for me to read. Once, I turned to thank him, but he waved his hands quickly, his face a little flustered. "Thanks for helping me out earlier," Liam said softly. "My notes are really clear, go ahead and use them." Honestly, he was just too adorable. After school, I caught sight of Ethan Carter and Lily Harris at the school gate. The two of them were playfully shoving each other as they climbed into a flashy sports car, which roared off in a cloud of dust. I was a little surprised, hadn't they just met this morning? And they were already close enough to ride together? As expected of the female lead. I shook my head and got into my family's car, heading straight home, where I continued studying with my tutor as usual. That weekend, I went to the hospital with my mom, Mrs. Thompson, for a routine checkup. As we stepped out of the hospital director's office, I saw someone who looked familiar. I hesitated, then walked closer for a better look. It was Andrew Taylor. He stood slightly hunched, his young face forced into an awkward smile that didn't suit his age, speaking politely to a doctor. I caught fragments of their conversation: hospital fees, debt, payments. In that moment, Andrew was completely different from the cold, untouchable top student everyone admired at school. There was no pride, no aloofness, only quiet endurance and pleading. He looked like an eagle whose wings had been bound, a creature meant to soar high above the sky but instead forced to struggle, crawling in the dirt. My chest tightened at the sight. My mom called me from ahead, so I quickly followed. On the way home, she asked about my studies at school. I gave her a short summary. She listened, then affectionately patted my head over and over. My daughter is working so hard. When we get home, I'll ask the cook to make you some nourishing soup. I shook my head with a smile. It's not hard, Mom. That's just how studying is. But in my mind, Andrew's image at the hospital replayed itself. I couldn't help but feel moved. We were all seniors in high school. Some were busy racing cars and chasing girls, some were buried in books, and some were carrying burdens so heavy they were bent beneath them. By Monday, life returned to its routine of classes and study. Before the morning self-study session, I noticed several classmates lining up at Andrew's desk, dropping off their weekend assignments along with cash. Curious, I asked my desk mate about it. He explained they pay Andrew to do their homework. He writes everything, and they hand it in. A lot of people in class do it, and Andrew can mimic different handwriting styles, so the teachers never catch on. I pressed my lips together and nodded slightly. My desk mate chuckled. I've asked him to help me a few times too, when I was too busy. But you probably don't need that, you're too diligent for anyone else to do your work. I rummaged through my bag until I found a brand new, untouched workbook, then carried it over to Andrew's desk. The morning sunlight streamed through the windows, painting his desk in gold. His uniform was spotless, his back straight, shoulders glowing faintly under the light as though he were illuminated. And yet, his expression was cool, detached, wrapped in an invisible distance. I set the workbook down without saying much. I wasn't even sure how to explain myself. Andrew paused, lifted his head, and his eyes met mine, calm, still, like a lake without a single ripple. This weekend's homework doesn't require a new workbook, he said evenly. I blinked. Just start writing, you'll need it eventually. Andrew Taylor didn't say anything more. He simply accepted the workbook. I was about to turn away when he suddenly called me back. This is too much money. He had flipped the workbook open and found the cash I'd tucked inside. A spark of inspiration hit me. I'm paying you by the year. Think of it as a membership fee. Before he could say anything else, I hurried back to my seat. My desk mate looked at me strangely, as if to say, so I was wrong about you. Turns out, you're just like the others after all. I ignored it. Anyway, what subject are we working on today? That afternoon, during lab class, I realized I had left my pen and notebook behind. When I went back, the classroom door wasn't locked. Just as I was about to push it open, I froze. Inside, Ethan Carter and Lily Harris were holding each other. Ethan leaned down, his lips almost touching hers. For a second, shock ran through me. But just as quickly, I calmed myself, gently pulling the door closed again. My pen and notebook would still be there tomorrow. And if not, well, I could always buy new ones. I turned and hurried downstairs. In my rush, I slipped and fell, yet the sharp pain I braced for never came. Instead, I landed straight into a pair of clean, steady arms carrying a faint, refreshing scent. What happened? Is someone chasing you? The cool, even voice sounded right by my ear. It took me a moment to steady my breath. Honestly, I hated that weightless, out-of-control feeling just now. I'm fine, I said quickly, stepping back and taking a deep breath. Thank you. Are you hurt? Andrew asked softly, lowering his gaze to check me over. I avoided his eyes. Why did you come back? Did you forget something? He nodded, then turned to walk on. I called after him, if you forgot, you could just grab it tomorrow. Not convenient right now, he replied without stopping. I caught up with him, but as soon as we stepped into the courtyard, Andrew suddenly turned and blocked my path. He was tall and lean, but definitely not fragile. Proof was how he had caught me so easily on the stairs just moments ago. I quickly shook off the strange thoughts swirling in my head and asked, "Do you have something to say to me?" Andrew pressed his lips together. "About earlier, thank you. I'll pay you back." So that was it. I laughed, shaking my head. "I already told you, it's homework fees. You don't need to pay me back." He looked at me silently for a few seconds, then turned his gaze elsewhere. "I looked through your workbook. There are a lot of mistakes. I know where they are. I can explain it to you." My whole face lit up instantly. Oh my God, could something this good really be happening? This was Andrew Taylor, the top student since freshman year, offering to tutor me himself. I nodded eagerly, like a pecking chick. Yes, absolutely, yes. Andrew Taylor's lips curved into a faint smile. The golden glow of sunset fell across his handsome face, making him look both gentle and impossibly captivating. We went back to the classroom together to review the problems I'd gotten wrong. By the time we finished, it was already completely dark. The room was empty except for the two of us. I quickly gathered my books. "Sorry for wasting so much of your time." Andrew shook his head. "You got a lot wrong on yesterday's assignment. I'll explain more tomorrow at school." My heart pounded wildly with embarrassment. Barely pausing a second, I bobbed my head up and down. His gaze softened, and he let out a quiet sigh. Pretending not to notice, I just grinned and offered a flurry of praise. "You explain things so clearly. And, well, you look good doing it too." We laughed as we walked out the school gates together. In the distance, Ethan Carter and Lily Harris climbed into a car. Not the sports car from this morning, this time, it was a Lamborghini. I didn't spare them a second glance. Instead, I turned and asked, "Where are you headed?" "Home." "No need," I said quickly. "It's late. It's not safe. Go on ahead." Andrew adjusted his backpack strap, then walked forward into the mingling glow of moonlight and street lamps. His tall, lean figure cast a long shadow that stretched across the ground, melting into the night. I stood there for a moment, watching him, before curling my lips into a small smile and climbing into my own car. After several rounds of studying together, Andrew and I gradually grew closer. One morning, after sitting through class the entire time with my head spinning from formulas and essays, I decided to escape to the rooftop for a breath of fresh air. The rooftop of Westbrook High was a great spot, nice view, well secured, perfect for students drowning in test prep who needed to blow off steam. But the moment I stepped up there, I froze. Ethan Carter and Lily Harris were standing close together, in a posture that looked like they were just about to kiss. The sound of my footsteps made them turn. Ethan's brows immediately furrowed. "Why are you up here?" Lily's face flushed crimson. Too embarrassed to say a word, she just kept pushing Ethan away. Ethan clicked his tongue but finally let go. I smiled faintly, taking a step back, and waved my hand. "Don't mind me, just keep going. I'm leaving." Ethan's expression darkened instantly, his face turning ugly. I didn't dare linger another second. I spun around and bolted straight downstairs. This time, I watched my step carefully. I wasn't about to fall again. When I finally stopped outside the classroom, I gulped down a few breaths until I calmed myself. Andrew turned toward me and handed me a full cup of water. I took it gratefully, downing it in one long swallow. After midterms, Andrew had moved to the seat in front of me, saying it would make explaining things easier. And honestly, it really was more convenient. "Why'd you come running back like that?" he asked. I pressed my lips together. Of course I wasn't about to mention witnessing a rooftop romance. Instead, I just made up some excuse. The wind up there had been so strong it gave me a headache. Andrew Taylor nodded slightly, not asking anything more. "I know a quiet spot," he said. "It's good for relaxing, and you can study there too. Want me to take you sometime? I nodded quickly. Of course. As long as I didn't run into Ethan Carter, anywhere felt like heaven. The very next day, Andrew brought me to the place he mentioned, a small grove by the stadium, with a wooden gazebo tucked inside. We sat together in the gazebo, and in no time at all, we had finished an entire math worksheet with incredible efficiency. Outside, sunlight filtered through lush green leaves, and the occasional breeze drifted past. It was so comfortable I stretched, leaned back, and almost drifted to sleep. Andrew didn't say a word, but I knew he was there. The quiet was so calming, until a voice suddenly shattered it. What are you two doing here? I opened my eyes to see Ethan standing outside the gazebo, his expression dark as he stared in. I blinked, then sat up straight. Whatever we're doing has nothing to do with you, does it? Shouldn't you be on the rooftop kissing your girlfriend instead of coming here to bother me? Ethan narrowed his eyes, clearly angry. I honestly couldn't understand, what was he even mad about? I didn't want to waste words on him, so I turned to Andrew. Let's go back to class. Andrew quietly gathered the worksheets and pens, then stood to follow me. Just as I stepped out of the gazebo, Ethan suddenly grabbed my wrist. Before I could react, Andrew's hand swept his grip away, pulling me behind him. I froze, staring at his back. Andrew's face was turned away from me, but I could see Ethan's expression clouding over like a storm about to break. Move, Ethan barked. She doesn't want to talk to you, Andrew replied calmly, his voice smooth and steady like still water. Compared to Ethan's fury, Andrew's composure was almost chilling. Ethan gave a bitter laugh, raising his fist as if to strike, but Andrew's hand shot up and blocked him. Startled, I rushed forward. Ethan, stop. His eyes snapped toward me, carrying a flash of hurt. So you're on his side now? I didn't answer. I only lifted my head, meeting the gaze of the boy I had once liked so very much. But that felt like a story from another lifetime. Now, I didn't feel a thing. Why are you doing this? I asked quietly. Ethan frowned deeply. I stayed calm. Our engagement was already broken off. We may have grown up together, but in your eyes, I don't even compare to the lunch you ate today. In your heart, Emily Thompson never existed. So instead of worrying about romance, why are you here trying to stop me? Ethan Carter stayed silent for a long time before finally speaking. I wasn't. I turned my head away. Whatever it is, or isn't, has nothing to do with me. I need to get back to class. Please, move. He stared at me intently, his eyes flickering with a storm of emotions, confusion, hurt, even a trace of sorrow. Too complicated. I didn't bother looking any longer. At last, he quietly turned and left, his steps unsteady but quick. The moment he was gone, the air immediately felt easier to breathe. I glanced at Andrew Taylor, a little embarrassed, and whispered my thanks. Thank you, for earlier. Andrew gave a slight shake of his head, his eyes carrying a soft smile as he looked straight at me. That gaze made me feel strangely self-conscious. You're fine, he said calmly. Let's head back to class. I let out a breath of relief. But still, there was something unusual about Andrew just then. I'd always known he was handsome, but when those beautiful eyes, more striking than his face itself, looked at me with that quiet smile, my chest thudded wildly. Please, I thought helplessly, stop beating so fast. After that day, Ethan suddenly began showing up at school every day for a whole week. I, however, stayed focused, burying myself in practice tests. One break period, Lily Harris came to find me. The petite, fair-skinned girl looked anxious, hesitation in her eyes as she asked softly, "Do you know where Ethan went?" Everyone says, maybe you'd know. I shook my head. I haven't seen him. I see, Lily left with a dazed expression, as if she had lost her sense of direction. I only sighed lightly, then turned back to my worksheets. On Saturday, a heavy storm poured down. The Ethan Carter who had vanished for a week suddenly appeared at my house. The butler came to call me, and I thought I had misheard. "Are you sure? Ethan Carter?" "Yes, Mississippi young Master Ethan. He's here, carrying a cardboard box. He's soaked from the rain. Please, come downstairs." I set my practice papers aside and headed down. Ethan stood in the living room, rain-drenched from head to toe, puddles forming beneath his feet. Do you need something from me?" I asked. He nodded, then carefully set down the box he had been clutching tightly all this time. Unlike his drenched figure, the box was mostly intact, only a corner slightly damp. I watched as Ethan opened the lid and began taking out the items inside, one by one, with deliberate care. I realized all of them were things I had given him in the past. "This is the paper crane you folded for me when we were 4, Ethan Carter said softly. "You said you wanted to fold 1,000, but in the end, there were only 9. And this is the drawing you made when we were 8. You told me we had to be like the picture, together forever. This scarf, you knitted it for me when we were 10. One by one, he pulled the items from the box, handling them as if they were priceless treasures. His voice was filled with tenderness and nostalgia as he recalled each memory. I stayed silent, waiting for the last item. It was a model race car, the gift I'd given him just last year. I had picked it on purpose, knowing his obsession with speed. Piece by piece, Ethan had laid out what was essentially a collection of my childhood feelings, a timeline of growing up, year by year, all the small tokens I had once handed him. Holding the car, he stepped closer, forcing a smile. "Emily, when you gave me these things, you always said we'd be together forever. I really believed you would never leave me, no matter what. Maybe I messed up. Maybe I hurt you, let you down." I almost laughed. I had to admit, he was dedicated enough to dig up all these old things. But that car, hadn't he once smashed it to pieces? Now it was back in his hands. "I fixed it," Ethan said quickly, as if afraid I'd turn away. "It doesn't matter to me anymore." I glanced around at the scattered items, the cranes, the scarf, the doodles, the handmade trinkets. Almost all of them were things I'd made myself. Young love, sweet but bittersweet, like a sour plum on a hot summer day. It stings your eyes with tears, yet leaves behind a lingering sweetness. But time moves on. Feelings fade, like wind passing through, leaving only memories behind. I looked Ethan straight in the eyes and smiled faintly. That was the past. Now, I like the life I have more. I like the person I am now more. He stumbled back a few steps, his eyes full of stubbornness. "I'll change. Just give me another chance. Please?" I shook my head without the slightest hesitation. I was someone who had already read the story. If I still believed him, I'd truly be a fool. Right now, he was just someone who couldn't handle the emptiness of not having me orbit around him anymore. That's all. I turned and called for the butler. "Please help young Master Ethan pack his things. And when you send him out, make sure to give him an umbrella." The butler gave me a look that said I've just witnessed a whole drama, then smiled politely. "Yes, Mississippi." The weekend passed, and I returned to school as usual. The only difference was that Ethan began showing up constantly. I ran into him at the school gate, again in the cafeteria, and later during lab class. The seat beside me was suddenly swapped out, and Ethan sat down in it. I was about to snap when Andrew Taylor, sitting on my other side, gently touched my arm and asked in a low voice, "Do you want to switch seats?" Without hesitation, I shot up. "Yes." So Andrew and I quickly exchanged seats. Ethan's face darkened immediately. He glanced at me, then at Andrew, his expression stormy. Without a word, he stood and stormed out of the classroom. The teacher, still lecturing at the board, cast a quick glance at the scene, but said nothing, continuing the lesson as though nothing had happened. That afternoon, just as I stepped out of the restroom, I caught sight of a group of girls gathered at the corner of the hallway. Leading them was none other than one of Ethan Carter's most notorious fangirls. In the middle of the group was Lily Harris, being shoved back and forth, clearly getting bullied. I narrowed my eyes and strode over, grabbing the wrist of one girl just as she raised her hand to slap Lily. "Emily Thompson?" The fangirl gasped, staring at me like she'd seen a ghost. She jabbed a finger toward Lily. "You're siding with her? What's wrong with you?" I shook her hand off and motioned for Lily to come closer. "This is bullying," I said coldly. "And since I've seen it, I can't just ignore it." Lily's eyes were red as she rushed to my side, looking at me with a mix of shock and disbelief. I didn't pay her any mind, keeping my gaze fixed on the group ahead. "Move." The fangirl bit her lip in anger. "I heard you've been studying hard lately. But what's the point? No matter how hard you try, you'll never catch up to the girl sitting next to you. She'll always be ahead of you." I gave her a flat look. "So what exactly are you trying to say? Don't you feel jealous of her? If she disappeared, you'd be number one." I let out a short laugh. Even if she wasn't there, I still wouldn't be number one, because the number one is Andrew Taylor. And besides, I don't need to be number one. I'm happy with the results I've earned through my own effort. The group's faces flushed red, and finally, unwilling but defeated, they retreated. "Thank you," Lily whispered. I shook my head. "No need." She lowered her head, her voice tinged with embarrassment. I always thought you hated me." "Why would you think that?" "Because everyone says, you and Ethan, that you like him." I gave a dry laugh and shrugged. "You think I'd hate you just because of some guy? If there's anyone worth hating, it's Ethan Carter." "What does that have to do with you?" For the first time, Lily broke into a smile. "You really are different." And her smile wasn't just words, it was real. She really was beautiful. When she smiled, it was disarming, striking in a way that carried real weight. I couldn't deny it, I'd always been someone who admired beauty. Thinking back, that was probably the real reason I had liked Ethan for so many years. Back when we were kids, he was simply the most handsome boy around. "Do you get bullied like this often?" I asked Lily. She gave a small nod, her smile laced with a trace of bitterness. I patted her shoulder with a grin. "From now on, sit with me at lunch, okay?" As for Ethan, he could keep flirting around without a care for how his public pursuit caused trouble for the girl involved. If he wanted to be reckless, then he shouldn't blame me for stepping in. Lily Harris looked at me in surprise. "You've been so kind to me, but I don't know how I could ever repay you." "Who said you can't help me?" She blinked in confusion, and I smiled, laying out my true purpose. "Help me catch up in my studies." Andrew Taylor and Lily Harris, one ranked first in the grade, the other second. Now that Andrew tutored me every day, if I added Lily into the mix, I was sure I could climb to the very top. Before long, Lily and I became close friends. Her personality began to shine again, just like when she had first transferred schools. Her face grew brighter by the day, always carrying a smile. A few days later, when Ethan Carter finally returned to school, he saw Lily and me laughing together over homework. He froze in place. I didn't bother acknowledging him. His face darkened. He grabbed Lily's wrist. "Come with me." But Lily, her round face still sweet but now determined, shook him off firmly. "Emily and I are still working. Whatever it is, wait until after class." Ethan narrowed his eyes at her, glaring for a long moment before letting out a cold laugh and storming away. Lily sat back down with a relieved smile. "Shall we continue?" I nodded. "See? Life isn't just about romance. For students, doing your duty as a student is the best state to be in." After midterms, time seemed to speed up. The hot summer days slipped by, and before I knew it, I was already in the latter half of senior year. Thanks to the help of two academic stars, Andrew and Lily, I finally climbed to third place in the entire grade. Standing right behind the top two felt incredible. Meanwhile, Ethan and Lily's relationship remained tangled like a knotted ball of string, messy, complicated, and impossible to pull apart. As for me, all I had to do was steer clear of the rooftop, where the two of them liked to stage their dramatic scenes. Instead, the little garden behind the school became my base with Andrew. We spent our afternoons buried in practice tests at the gazebo. "You got them all right," Andrew said, marking my answers before giving me a thumbs up. I sprawled back in my seat, laid the test paper over my face, and closed my eyes, savoring the breeze drifting through. Andrew chuckled softly, leaning against the pillar beside me. In my half-drowsy state, I heard him ask, "Which college do you want to apply to?" I thought for a moment, then said the name of a school. He gave a quiet hum in response. Peeking through one eye, I saw that gentle smile lingering in his eyes. I curved my lips in return and closed my eyes again. The weather was perfect that day. Later that afternoon, on my way home, our car turned down a small intersection. Glancing out the window, I saw Ethan Carter arguing with Lily Harris right there in the middle of the street. Lily Harris's eyes were red, as if she had just been crying. Ethan Carter's face was expressionless, though his gaze lingered on her. I thought for a moment, then told the driver to stop. Grabbing the umbrella beside me, I stepped out of the car. "Ethan, I really have no choice left, that's why I came to you. Please, help me." "You mean, money, right?" "Yes," Lily admitted, clutching his sleeve as if she might collapse. "My mom is in the hospital. She needs surgery, and the cost is so high. I'll do whatever you say from now on. I'll listen to you, I'll do anything you ask. Please, I can't lose my mom. I wouldn't survive it." Ethan lowered his head, his voice cold. "I have the money. But I don't want to give it to you." Lily's face drained of color. After a long pause, she whispered again, her voice breaking. "Please. I'll pay you back somehow. Just help me this once." Ethan gave a sharp, bitter laugh. "I used to think you were different from the rest. But now? You're the same as everyone else. Approaching me just for money." A crack of thunder split the sky. The storm clouds that had hung low since afternoon finally opened up, unleashing sheets of rain. I stepped forward, opening my umbrella over Lily's head. At some point, Ethan had already walked away. Lily stood there like spun sugar dissolving in the rain, fragile enough to shatter at a single touch. I clasped her trembling hand tightly. "Where's your mom? Take me to her." She broke down, first in soft sobs, then in full, wrenching cries. I stood silently beside her, holding the umbrella. I had Lily's mother transferred to the private hospital the Thompson family used, bringing in the best surgeon we could find. Because she was admitted just in time, the doctors were able to schedule immediate surgery. This time, Lily's mother was saved. And just like that, the tangled, toxic bond between Lily and Ethan was cut clean, sharp, and final. Afterward, Lily herself initiated the breakup. Ethan clung on for a while, but she never once looked back. And so, their dreamy high school romance ended in regret. To be honest, I was relieved for Lily. Better to be free and strong on your own than to live as someone else's fragile shadow. As college entrance exams drew closer, Andrew Taylor suddenly asked for leave, vanishing for several days. When I finally saw him again, there was a wound on his face, and his whole body seemed shrouded in a fog of exhaustion and despair. I remembered what Lily had told me earlier that day, how she had seen Andrew at the hospital, cornered by thugs demanding repayment, his grandmother shoved to the ground until she lost consciousness. I couldn't imagine how terrifying that must have been. Andrew lifted his head slowly to meet my gaze. His eyes no longer held even the faintest glimmer of light. My throat tightened, but I forced a smile as I grabbed his wrist. "Andrew, let me help you. I know some of the best doctors. They'll definitely be able to save your grandmother. As for those men, however much they demand, I'll pay it for you. Don't give up. You're so talented, and college entrance exams are right around the corner, you can't collapse now." I had intended to comfort Andrew Taylor, but halfway through speaking, my own tears began to fall uncontrollably. Then something struck me: why was Andrew never mentioned in the original storyline? Someone like him, smart, handsome, in a Mary Sue novel could never just be a background character. The only explanation was that something terrible had happened, something big enough to destroy his future. A star that should have blazed brilliantly, snuffed out just before its peak. "Don't cry," Andrew finally spoke, his fingers gently wiping away my tears, his voice low and hoarse with awkwardness. I never thought about giving up. After drying my tears, he pulled me into his arms, whispering with a tenderness that melted straight into my heart. "If I hadn't met you, maybe I really would have fallen apart. But since I met you, all I want is to work hard, so I can stand beside you." His voice was soft enough to undo a person from the inside out. I've always lived in darkness. Then I met a moonlight. How could I ever let go of that? My face burned. I'm just a person, not some moonlight. How could a so-called villainess like me be anyone's shining moon? But Andrew said firmly, "You are." I pressed my lips together, nodding lightly. "Then, let me try. Let me be that light." I didn't know if I could truly be the moon in his eyes, but I wanted to reach out for someone falling into despair. If someone had pulled me up back then, maybe I wouldn't have ended so tragically. Fortunately, I had been given the chance to start over. This time, I would save Andrew Taylor. He nodded, his eyes unbelievably gentle. With a soft sigh, he murmured, "I never dreamed there'd be a day when the moon would step into my arms." My whole face turned crimson. I clapped a hand over his mouth. "Enough. You're the top student, I get it, don't turn into a poet on me." If he said one more line like that, I'd have to dig a hole and bury myself. With all the Thompson family's connections, I dealt with the debt collectors and hired the best doctors to care for Andrew's grandmother. The night before college entrance exams, she finally woke up. And this time, with my own hands, I escorted a star into the doorway of his future. At the graduation farewell party, Andrew confessed his feelings to me, and I accepted. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Ethan Carter smashing a glass bottle with his bare hand, causing a commotion. But by then, none of that had anything to do with me anymore. If I rushed over to show concern, it would only be like rubbing salt into his wound. So I didn't. Instead, I just held Andrew Taylor's hand and led him outside. The night sky was dazzling, and the person standing next to me was the one I loved. I thought to myself, I hadn't wasted this second chance at life. Half a month after that farewell party, I heard news that Ethan Carter had gone abroad to study. Lily Harris told me Ethan had come to her once before leaving. I didn't know exactly what they said, but I was certain the two of them would never be entangled again. Once we started college, Andrew began building his own startup. Though his results were brilliant, the path was far from easy. Every day, I brought him homemade soup from our family's cook, doing my best to keep his energy up. Meanwhile, Lily majored in law and quickly became one of the most outstanding faces on campus. Compared to the two of them, I probably ranked third. But honestly, I was more than satisfied. A life where you know contentment, that's true happiness. "Emily, I booked a restaurant for your birthday. Let's go." Andrew walked into the room in a suit, his presence calm, elegant, and heartbreakingly handsome, though there was a trace of displeasure on his face. "I already booked one too, but she got there first," he muttered. I rushed over, tugged at his cheek, and teased, "No sulking. I'll make it up to you tonight." He let out a quiet huff, still holding on to that touch of pride. After we changed clothes, we got into the car together. When we arrived, Lily was already waiting at the door. I ran forward, grabbed her hand, and with my other hand pulled Andrew out of the car. The street was bustling with life, filled with people weaving through the crowd. And we, too, melted into that flow of people. Subscribe to the channel for more stories.